As soon as the spring steel had heated up, I brought it under the power hammer. With the spring steel now the proper dimension, I began forging in the tip of the first knife. I had also cut out a paper template of the knife shape I wanted, and used that for reference during the forging. After finishing the tip of the knife, I used the edge of the anvil to isolate the blade. With the majority of the blade profile done, I hot cut the knife off the bar and finished the handle. After that, I finished up forging the second knife and moved on to grinding. To start grinding, I again used the paper template from before to mark out the exact profile I wanted. After profiling both of them, I moved on to grinding the bevels. To start working on the bevels, I used a Sharpie and a drill bit to find the center of the edge. Then, using the layout I had done, I was able to make very symmetrical bevels. I filed in a sharpening notch for two very important reasons. First, it creates a space between the edge and the plunge grinds, so you don't mess them up during sharpening. And second, it looks really cool. The touch marking on both of the knives came out great. So did the normalization, and of course, quench. After soaking your knife in oil, place in the nearest toaster oven and set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. After this, remove your knives, and they should be a nice golden straw color. After getting the knives out of the temper, I finished ground them, using progressively finer grits until I was ready to hand sand the blades. After finishing polishing the blades, I moved on to their handles, starting with layout for drilling the holes. I drilled two 1/8-inch holes in the tang for pins, and then a few larger ones for weight reduction. After that, I tapered and flattened the tang, so the scales would sit on it nicely. For the two knives' handles, I'm going to be using Padauk and Purple Heart, because they have very interesting colors. After drilling the first hole in the block of wood, I used a brass pin to keep the knife in place to drill the second. Same with the one with the Padauk handle. Before cutting the blocks of wood in half to serve as scales, I trimmed up their top edges. More trimming was done to the top edges because it can't be done later after the glue up. Before gluing up the handles, I etched the blades in ferric chloride to darken them. After darkening them in the etch, I threw them in a bucket of rocks and rolled them around. Yes, it's strange, but it looks pretty cool afterwards. After giving the epoxy a reasonable time to set, I shaped the handles. After finishing polishing the handles, I coated them in oil, which will protect the wood. A hunting knife won't be very useful without an edge, so I gave it to them. Both of these knives were custom ordered as a set, so if you want your own custom order, my socials are linked in the description below. Thanks for watching.